So yesterday we went to a really interesting event called What Does Healthy Look Like at Century House.
It was really cool, and it was a really nice intimate sort of setting for a talk on body image.
Yeah, but we were super excited to go to this event because there's so much going on in the media about what does healthy look like, and I'm sure you have been, if you have been in London, you've probably followed all of the backlash that was going on with the advertisements from Protein World. Basically, they were advertising supplements for looking better, and they were using kind of a slim model and saying, are you beach ready? We don't think there is a right shape for everyone. I think everyone has a natural shape, and that can be smaller or bigger, so there's no right shape. So when we got invited to this event, we're very excited to go because they were going to discuss about these issues. So there was one lady from a modeling agency called Milk, where they have both normal, well, I don't want to say normal, but standard models and also curvy models.
Milk, you'll probably know, are the agency that signed Tess Munster, the size 26 model, recently. So they are like making really big strides as far as curve models are concerned, so it was quite good to see her.
And then there was the one journalist from the Telegraph who's regularly writing on the topic and the issue, and she's very active on social media. And there was also one lady who's working in an NGO, I believe.
Yeah, she was from Mind, so she was really looking at body image and health from a mental health perspective, which is a really good angle to have, because everybody else can be very subjective to health and the way that we see it personally, where she really saw it from you know, how it can affect you mentally, and how it you know, good health and exercise can improve. As we all know, it can so much improve your mental health. And there was also the designer, Anna Schultz. She was there, and she was giving her perspective on sort of the plus size industry from the fashion perspective, and also just about general health, wasn't it? She's really quite clued up about nutrition and about health. It's quite
and she's doing as well a column called Anna's Kitchen in Slink magazine, which is actually the host of this event. So Slink magazine is a magazine for curvy women, founded by Rifkin, and she actually like put the whole thing together. The personal trainer Paul, who was giving his perspective from a personal trainer point of view, so he has extensive kind of nutrition training, and you know, giving his experiences with working with clients. The problem was that Salli and I weren't on the panel, so throughout the duration of the discussion, we had so many things we wanted to say about the whole thing. Salli did ask a very good question, which threw them off a little bit. It wasn't the standard expected question. So we're just gonna go over our questions and what are our opinions on what does healthy look like.
The kind of the first question really was, what does healthy look like? And I think that we were all in absolute agreement that there is really no standard for what healthy is, because every person at every height has their healthy weight for them. So I think that there's no way to say, right, this is an exact poster of what healthy looks like, unless you, I mean, even fitness models really punish themselves quite badly sometimes, taking whatever supplements. They will also Photoshop themselves on Instagram, so there isn't any specific way to say, oh, actually, that person's got a six-pack, so immediately they must be a healthy person. The same way as you can't look at a very larger woman and say, that can't be a healthy person because she looks like that in that way. Well, if you look at sort of any posters on the underground, or you look at any magazine, the women that represent mainstream fashion are only of two sizes. You either have to be very thin, or you have to be a curve model or a plus size. So I wanted to ask the lady that worked for the model agency, well, how does that affect you in your business? Because you might have incredibly healthy women that are there and they're a size 10 to 12, you know, where does curve start? So she said to me, well, curve doesn't actually start until you're a size 12. And to be honest, those girls still don't work. So if we want a girl to work in sort of curve fashion, you know, a lot of the time we pad them, or they just are not going to get a job, or we tell them that, you know, they need to be a bit bigger. So all these girls that probably are beautiful, that are in between, you know, they might be a size 10 to a size probably small 14, they're not catered for. We're never going to see those people in the fashion industry. You're not going to see them in a magazine. You're not going to see them representing the clothes that you want to wear. So what are you supposed to do? Unless the fashion industry changes that and they use models of all different sizes for whatever fashion that might be, then you're never going to be able to say, well, I think that, you know, I want to represent healthy women, because how can you? Because you're missing out a whole section. If I was a model and I went to an agency, they would say to me, you either have to significantly lose weight, which would mean a very punishing diet and exercise regime, which might be very healthy for me, don't get me wrong, but it's not very nice to live your life like that, or you're going to have to gain a significant amount of weight. So for me to go from a size 10 to a size 16, which is actually the ideal weight for you to work as a model, of course that would be unhealthy. How it's not natural for me to eat that amount of food or to eat that amount of calories that I would need to pack on that sort of weight, and that would earn me money. So how is that healthy? How would that be healthy for me?
And we still have a long way to go with nutrition education on a global level, because one of the other topics that was coming up in this debate was women that are bigger also do sports and they're quite active. And that's fair enough, and that's very positive. So there were a lot of like examples, inspirational examples on the panel that have taken up sports and that have taken up healthy eating. But there wasn't enough discussed about what kind of information is there available for people to make better decisions about their lifestyle. But one person that brought this up was Paul, who was a nutritionist and personal trainer on the panel, and he basically talked about an example of children in school and how hyperactive they are because they're so hyped by the sugar, and sugar is only becoming something you know, in the mainstream media. People are getting more information about how much sugar is, you know, around all of the products. So if you eat any kind of processed food, it's more likely than not to contain sugar additives in it. And the government is actually imposing a sugar tax, which the panel didn't agree with. Anna Schultz, who is the fashion designer, she mentioned that it's always good to have a positive incentive, so you know, build more facilities and swimming pools for people to go to.
I think she was like all for the tax, wasn't she? But like wanted the money from that tax to then be redistributed in a way that we can utilize as like a healthy way of our lifestyle. But it's like what you said, that if you don't have that information in the first place, how are you then still going to make that choice to go swimming, even if it is made cheaper for you?
From our perspective, well, at least from my personal perspective, I don't think imposing a tax on sugary drinks is a bad thing, because if you make the price of something higher, it's always going to be an incentive for people to cut back, even if they don't understand the reasons behind it, or even if they enjoy it so much. For example, smokers, like there's a big excise tax on cigarettes that people pay as a premium, or on alcohol. So, but at least it's a regulated market, so you know it's bad for you, and it's going to be more expensive to buy it, but it might make you actually cut down the amount of sugary drinks you have.
And actually today it was on the news that they're going to be cutting the government guidelines of sugar. So it used to be, I think it was 50 grams of sugar that was recommended that a woman would consume in a day, and they're going to cut that by half to 25, which is actually quite a small amount. So I think it's like one chocolate bar or something like that, and that's your daily guideline. Like that's your sugar done. You know, you can have like a bowl of cereals and that will contain that amount of sugar, and then that's it. You can't have anything else for the day. Like for me, I'm about to be a mum. There's no way that I want to pump my child with processed foods. I just don't want to. Like when my baby's born, I want to make sure that it eats healthy and it eats right, and it's not going to live off sugar. Like I'm not going to have sugary drinks in my house, or things like that. I mean, they'll probably have. I'm not going to be like militant mom. They can't have like a panda pop at a party. Like that's fine. Like you've got to have some sort of balance there. You can't always live your life this way. But I think for just in your house, in your home, you can make those changes to be a healthier person. I think that's what you're trying to say, isn't it? That you've got to make that information more available.
Yeah. So Salli and I will be going to more events, and I hope you enjoyed our discussion for the What Does Healthy Look Like.
Yeah, so remember, subscribers win prizes.
So the prize that you're going to win is going to be a dinner for two at one of the Curbs food trucks.
And keep tuning in. We're going to be talking about lots of interesting topics like this, about body image, about women's issues, and also loads of fun things. And we're going to be doing another Ask Sally this week. So if you have any of your body issues that you want to talk about, or you have any problems for me, send them in to submissions@mimagazine.net, and I am here to help y'all.